I've worked in law, politics, investment banking, and ran my own businesses. And I've advised the US, South Korean, and Chinese governments. How does the world see China? How does China see the world? I'm Einar Tangen. Find out on Tangen on China, a special series during the 2 sessions. China's NPC and CPPCC are often portrayed as legislative rubber stamps. Let's get into how they work so you understand the differences between the popular misconceptions and the reality. In a one-party political system like China's, there are no politicians. Governance rests on trained and experienced professionals who may have different thoughts and approaches, but who are collectively responsible for creating and implementing policies and laws. To do this, every proposed new policy or law is carefully measured against the long and intermediate range plans and then sent down for comments and proposals for specific implementation actions. By sent down, I mean all the way down to every village in the country, where it then percolates back up to the national level, gathering substance, including budgets, timelines, milestones, and at the end of this journey, the entire policy or law is reviewed again to make sure it conforms to the 5-year or longer plans and goals. By the time it arrives for passage at the 2 sessions, the new policy or law has been thoroughly reviewed and commented on, including by the lawmakers themselves as leading officials, affected groups, and the public at large. All that remains is to give the new policy or law official approval and enter it into the official policies, laws of the country. In Western-style political systems, civil servants advise and implement laws and policies passed by politicians. Politicians need the bureaucrats because modern governments are complex mechanisms where changing one piece results in changes to other pieces. Politicians are elected based on their ideas, but they don't have to be qualified in terms of knowledge or experience. There's an underlying belief that new ideas and approaches will create better, more efficient government. So, when laws are proposed in such systems, while they go through committee and bureaucratic reviews, those who propose and pass it take much more of a hit and hope approach. Different systems have different procedures. China spends about 100 times more time in the beginning to make sure its policies and laws are practical, harmonized, and implemented. Western-style political systems spend less time up front, tending to see new policies and legislation as expression of ideological will, which the bureaucrats will be responsible for figuring out. So what does this mean for China? For 40 years and the foreseeable future, China will use its planning approach to advance the interests of its people. When improvements are needed or mistakes are made, they will go through the same process as the original policies or laws. What does this mean for the rest of the world? As countries struggle with an increasingly complex world where change and planning are crucial, they need to study different systems which allow them to accomplish their goals within the ideological, cultural, social, legal norms of their respective countries. No system is universal or right. There are many paths to prosperity, but understanding other systems will prevent you from making poor assumptions about other systems. For instance, believing that China's 2 sessions is a legislative rubber stamp.